How did Charlie communicate with the dog? Yes, by body language.
Body language is a type of non-verbal communication. It is a gesture to form a signal to deliver a message. Alessandro Giovanni asserted, linguistic relativity was born of the observation that languages provide different ways of describing the world. The next step was to posit that each language established a system of meaning that is incommensurable with other systems. As a kind of language, body languages are also developed through different cultures, so that the meaning are also variated. Even though the action is the same, the meaning is different.
In this video, we will introduce the characteristic of body languages and its misunderstanding in intercultural communication.
This is an OK signal in Hong Kong culture. In Australia and Southern European countries, it is offensive and telling the recipient he or she is a nobody. In Latin America and France, it is an insulting sign, means your anus. However, also in Europe, it means well done in Germany, and in Turkey, it means one is a homosexual.
As a form of communication, we can find that it contains all the characteristics of communications. According to Frank Dance and Carl Larsen, there are 6 characteristics of communications.
Symbolic, interpretive, transactional, contextual process in which people create shared meaning. First, let Hiroko-san give us an example of Japanese body languages.
Ready? Here's the gesture. Is the meaning A, thank you, B, I'm sorry, C, no way? The answer is B, I'm sorry.
After the lecture of Hiroko-san, we know that to shake our palms together means sorry in Japan. Take a look of the hands, it is a kind of symbol. Since body language usually consists of symbolic gesture, so this is a characteristic of communication. Communication process is interpretive, so that the messages are to be decoded by the receiver. It is even more important to body languages because the gesture used when people communicate. The receiver must be able to interpret the symbolic behaviors from the sender, so that they can have an understanding over those behaviors, in order to create a meaningful interpretation through their decoding process of the sender's action. Let's get back to Charlie stuck in the lion cage. The lady understands the gesture of Charlie to keep quiet and the gesture of unlock the door. Unfortunately, she was faint after she successfully decoded Charlie's action.
Body language as using an action to transfer message is the earliest form of communication for humans to communicate. It is linear and one-way flow from the senders to the receivers. Since it is the very basic form of the human communication, it usually consists of one single meaning, which is different from other forms of communication that multiple messages can be sent. For example, the Turkish body languages contain single meaning per action. Physical contact is a characteristic of communications that people follow during their daily lifestyle. It is the personal reactions towards every coincidence that happened in life. In body language, this characteristic is performed as the actions that to act and react every day. For example, when we try to call a taxi, we wave hands. We rub our hair when we are unable to solve a problem. We look at our watches when we get annoyed of waiting for people.
Social context is similar with physical context, as it is also a form of communication with response to the surrounding. Unlike physical context, it is about a personal response to occasion, as people tend to communicate in different tone or attitude during different occasions in life. The occasion is the events that people will happen less frequent in their life. For instance, a funeral or a Christmas party. In body language, we define it as human reaction to formal or informal occasion. As we are very likely to keep motion in habit during occasion that is serious. On the contrary, people will have a big emotion during when they are in an informal occasion such as concert. The interpersonal context refers to the expectations people have about the behaviors of others as a result of differences in the relationship between them. Body languages in terms of interpersonal context are very likely to the actions that to show the emotion of the sender to the receiver. And this characteristic of communication mostly performs to sole target. For example, we shake hands to show friendship, or we use a fighting postures to show anger.
Since body language is to use gestures to deliver meaning, it belongs to the kinetic types of nonverbal communications. There are 5 categories of kinetic behavior.
This kind of behavior has direct verbal equivalent. Therefore, the body action itself represents one verbal meaning. This class of behavior can directly be understood with the gesture only. This kind of behavior usually expressed with a verbal message that the gestures can be seen to reinforce the meaning of the verbal message. This kind of behavior releases an emotional expression that it is universally recognized. This kind of action is to control the flow and the pace of communication. This kind of behavior are usually done unintentionally, because this type of body language is to release emotional tensions such as impatience, enthusiasm, nervousness, and that shows the sign of anxiety or uneasiness.
Similar to verbal language, body language is limited by cultural constraint. It is because if the sender and receiver are not in the same culture, messages will cause misunderstanding. The meaning of a heart gesture can be interpreted as love. However, people from cultures that do not have such signal will not understand this symbol. So this misunderstanding of communication is the signal is not interpretive to the receiver. It is rather impossible for the sender to deliver complicated ideas to the receiver from different cultures. It is because the message may contain a lot of gestures that the receiver may not able to decode meaning of each gesture, and that series of gestures are meaningless. Therefore, body language may not be transactional to people from different cultures.
Misunderstanding of body language in different cultures is more obvious in terms of the 3 context aspects. It is because how people react towards the surrounding is affected by the culture that they belong to. So they will not be able to understand the reason of the gestures from people in different cultures. For example, people from India use thumb up as I doubt that they work, but it means good job in America. So, when an Indian shows a thumb up to an American to show doubtful towards the plan of a project, the American will take it as a good job. In another hand, the American wants to tell good job with a thumb up. The Indian will think that American does not agree the idea. In terms of interpersonal context, as it is involve one receiver only, the cultural discrepancy will also lead to dramatic misunderstanding. For example, a kiss to the cheek is to show greeting from European, but to Asian, a bow or a nod is how they greet people. The Asian may believe that the European who sent a kiss may want to show love feeling. In fact, it is only a greet. However, social context is not limited by culture, because in social activity, the occasions will bring humans to similar reaction, since it is a form of natural response to the occasions. Cultural aspects, therefore, is not able to bond the natural reaction of a person.
In order to solve this misunderstanding of intercultural communications, people should be more open-minded to foreigners' body languages, because this session may contain totally different meaning. While being open-minded, they will forgive the offensive action and be expected it should contain another meaning in other cultures. And they should not feel ashamed to ask for clarification, because asking always shows respect to the others. And they can also explain the meaning of their body languages, so each other can have a better understanding about the meaning of their action in another culture as well. Also, when we are in a foreign country, we should not perform too much body languages when we have less understanding of that culture, because we may unintentionally offend that culture. Therefore, we should observe the action of different cultures and later to perform it while communicating, so we can smooth the communication process to foreigners.